Wait, where am I? Huh? Why am I on screen? Oh wait, I know what's happening. It's okay. I'll be on in a moment. Wait. Wait a minute. Just wait a minute. There we go. I'm on screen now. Hi. Hi, I'm here now. I dragged myself on and I was smiling and doing all like cute poses and then I wasn't there. I was so sad. But hello everyone. Hi. It's nice to see you guys. How are you? How are you guys doing? Hi Sari, always looking after us. Hi Casey, thank you for the 15 stream watch streak. Hi Poor Arrow. Hi Rory. You got forced into ads, yeah. But it gives us an hour of like ads free for new joiners, so I think it's good. I think it's good to do it like at least once. At the beginning of stream when I wouldn't be starting anyway. Hi Mike, it's nice to see you. How are you? Oh, look at Rakudo. He going silly. He has some nice emotes. Oh, look at that little jumpy. I want a jumpy. I want a cute jumpy like that one. It's cute. I'm free from ads. Congrats. You're immune to ads. I can be like that as well. I can like they'll like be like, oh guys, there's ads now, and I managed to avoid most of them. They've been showing up more recently though. I'm not happy about that. It's been hitting me a little bit more here and there. Mike who and thank you Rory for the 20 stream watch streak. Hi Yuri. Hi baby girl. How have you guys been? It's been a little bit. It's been a little bit since I last streamed. I apologize. I was in another country. I need to get like a gaming laptop. Like a really good laptop that can like, you know, that I can feel comfortable streaming on and that's not a like garbage. It's been a while since Morrowind. It has a little bit. I feel like the urge might kick me again to play some, but we'll see. I'm here just for hydrate and stretch redeems or exam tomorrow morning, so have fun and Raccoona Matata. That's cute. Thank you for the hydrate and stretch. And hello, Alex Dickerson, 44. Welcome in. Raccoon to the sky. I like to imagine when Puaro says that, he doesn't actually fly up, he just skitters away. He like just raccoon runs away. But good luck on your exam, Puaro. Good luck, you got this. You're gonna raccoon ace it. Yeah, that's a pun, that works. Don't ruin my mysterious aura. Yeah, everyone looks up and then he disappears and we're like, whoa, where'd he go? But he's just in the trash, like around the corner. He's having the time of his life. I think raccoons love trash, don't they? You were in a third world country. It was a nice part of it. It was like London. It was like central London. Silence. But that's what you do. That's what you people do. Very good in a trash bag. I'm thinking back to Dagoth Ur and the Khajiit, or not Khajiit, the Argonian Nerevarine. Hello Ivis, it's nice to see you. I have work tomorrow, gotta get sleep. Good night and have fun. Good night Rory, thank you for joining us for a little bit. Have a good sleep. That's a cute emo. What's that? What are you doing in there? Oh, you're sipping. I thought you were eating a cookie. Good night, Wowie. But yeah, I was over in London for a few days. It was quite nice, I will say. It was like I was in a nice area. The hotel was weird. The hotel was strange. It was very like theater based is what I would say. I remember I walked into the elevator and there was like the first elevator was fine. It was like shots of, I guess, like Broadway or whatever, like movie stuff. Then I went into the other elevator the next day. Oh no, it was at night. It wasn't at like midnight, but I was going down to get some food. And the doors opened and there were two ladies like looking directly at me. And they were in like 1930s clothing or like 40s. I was like, what the fuck? And then I realized they were actually on the wall. They were like pin-up, like life-sized pin-up girls. Maybe not pin-up girls, but like that type of pose. And they were like looking out at through the door. It was very disconcerting. I did not like it. I thought they were real. I actually kind of did like a, You will be asleep, voice. Adios. Guni Puraro. Good luck. Next Morrowind stream? Not sure. Not sure. Maybe sometime this week. Yeah, I might do a Morrowind stream this week. Yeah, that seems good. But yeah, I had a nice time. We got a lot done. I went for a little bit of a stroll. I saw a man playing a violin under a bridge. That was quite neat. It was more of a tunnel. It wasn't like under the bridges. Like it was close to the bridges over the river. Can I say by the way, the River Thames is disgusting. It is disgusting. I thought I've seen some ugly ass rivers, like some nasty ass rivers. This thing looked horrid. And there was a group. I saw a group of people kayaking in it, and I was like, "Oh my god, you're gonna get like 5 new diseases. What are you doing?" Can you turn off the music when the reading starts? Sure. Will do. And remind me if I do not. It's been awful since at least the Tudors. True. But like, dude, it was like an ugly, like brown green color. Like there's some rivers near me that kind of like can be like a little ooh. But like it was just not nice to look at. There wasn't any smell, which was good. Don't pinch me. Welcome to Ruadh's ASMR, where he talks about the smell of rivers. There wasn't like the smell of a river, which I guess because it's such a big river, maybe there's parts of it that's like that. I don't know. I don't know how smell of river works. Someone get Annie Austin on that. Quick, Annie Austin, tell me how all the rivers in Skyrim smell, please. And Morrowind too. But yeah, it was nice. It was nice, and we were in like kind of a financial. Morrowind rivers smell like ash. They absolutely do. Yeah, smell like filthy barbarians. But that means they're cleaning in them. They also smell like the 60th dead bandit that I killed walking halfway up a hill. Nords don't wash. This sounds like Thalmor propaganda. This seems like what they would tell the people back in the Somerset Isles about like why they have to take over Skyrim. But yeah, it was a nice area of London. It was pretty much in central London, so it was all high-rise buildings and glass thingies. Is that Genjuki playing Dio? Maybe it is. Maybe it is a Genjuki playing some piano. It may be, yeah. Unfortunately, there's one instance in this recording where my Windows decided to make a sound and I never realized. Why didn't you take pictures? Wait, I did take a few pictures. Wait, I should check back because I took a few photos, but it was more like photos of... I'd have to go like upload them. Maybe I'll upload them later. But I do have like one of the fucking river. But like it was ew. I'm just not a picture person. I'm not like I guess I've been to London before and I took a load of photos then. I went to all the touristy things. This was serious business. Serious business, by the way. Super serious. Can I say, by the way, London is so expensive. Like obviously it's one of the capitals of the world. But oh my god, if you wanted to like eat out or like get food, like I got a dish. I went to like a Thai restaurant, and it was very nice. It was very tasty, let me say. It was very tasty. It was a lamb shank in pangang sauce or a pangang curry. Really good. You went to Athi? I thought you were talking about like a Thai restaurant. No, it was a place called Thai Square. That puts down where I am, but it's like, oh no, you went where I went. You know where I went to visit London. Good luck. Like maybe if you guys hack the cameras, maybe that would work. But yeah, I went to a nice Thai restaurant. I got some lamb shank, pangang curry, and obviously rice. Obviously rice was with it, and I got a can of Coke Zero to enjoy with it, and it was very tasty, very good. Now here's the thing. I thought, foolish me, I thought that, you know, if something cost, what was it, 34, 35 British pounds, that it would have the rice included. That it would have the rice included. Oh no. Oh no, no siree, no siree. And this wasn't even without starters. All I had was the main meal, rice, and a can of Coke. No. The rice cost another £5 exactly, and the can of Coke cost £4.50. This rice, £5, yes, and not £5 of rice. It was £5 for rice, for a bowl of rice. Oh, I guess they eat slop and gruel up there in England. Hacking all the MI6 cameras and tracking the most Irish-looking person. There's a lot of Irish people in London. It might be tricky, but yeah. All in all, for a single meal, Haru, how dare you? They don't place the rice over there. Place the rice? What? What does placing the rice mean? Oh, like plate the rice? Like put the rice on the... Oh, farming the womb. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. That's okay, Mike. I know as an Asian you often think of the rice fields. It's common. It's like me with like peat fields or potato farms. I could be farming rice right now. You could be in the rice paddies. Hi, how feet? No, we're not talking about feet. Hello, C.O. Keynes Snorter. Welcome in. How are you? I hope you're well. I feel like you could be a high energy individual in chat. Give me a sack, will you? Yeah, if you ever start farming rice, can you give me like sacks of it? My stream froze when you said that, and I thought you got cancelled on the spot. Jeff Bezos himself hit end stream on my PC the moment he heard me say that. I hope your noise isn't filled with white chalk dust. What? But yeah, so this like singular dish was like £45 just to have. I hope your nose, that makes sense. I feel like it might be from his name. Could Stardew Valley gardening right now. Exactly, Mike. Like you could Stardew Valley in real life if you just started going into the rice fields. But thankfully like the company was paying for everything. So I was like, well, you know what? If my dinner tonight costs £45, that's fine. I'll happily take that. But he'll get crispy burnt from the sun. Just wear long sleeves and the big hat. I mean, that's why they wore those hats. I'm just saying, like, it was definitely the sun. Their sun hats. I'm pretty sure Europeans had something similar. It took me a while to realize I had you paused. I kept crashing on my Wi-Fi. Oh no, cocaine snorter. That's very unfortunate. Hello, abandoned bad dragon toy. Welcome in, welcome in. I hope you've been doing well. It's nice to see you. Still abandoned, I see. Still abandoned. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. I'm relaxing. The white got in their head. Can I take you? Haru. Your mom looks like a princess, but I forgot her name. No, I'm a man. How dare you? I'm not a princess. I'm not, no matter what Haru might say, I am a man, a male. I'm doing alright, done with work, drinking beer till I go eat as usual. I hope you're not, I hope it's just like a beer or two. You're just taking the edge off, not needing it. If you find me, the green guy's wife. Oh, Fiona? I look like Fiona? She was cool. Fiona was cool. I love the scene when she was like singing to the birds. When she was singing to the birds and she was like, she makes them explode. That scene always makes me laugh so much. Did you get to see a show in London, or perhaps you're not a theatre lover? I didn't. I was very busy, mermaid pinup. I was very busy. That too, because you're Ginge. Oh, Mary. Ah, I see. She's the lady from Brave, isn't she? Didn't they make her really Scottish in Wreck-It Ralph 2? The, like, really terrible one all about the internet. And, like, none of the other princesses could understand her. That's a funny joke. Mama Bear, literally. But yeah, I'm a little. No, I was thinking about Wait, am I thinking of the wrong lady? No, yeah, I was thinking of the one from Brave. That's right. No, actually, it is my Wi-Fi. It's okay. I've had times when my Wi-Fi is acting up and I have to end stream. It's very sad. You're right, Scottish Merida Brave. Her mum turns into a bear. That's it. That's the bear thing. I was like, what the fuck is the bear thing again? I feel like I feel like I've seen that film, but like I remember nothing about it. I've seen it, but literally not a single plot point in my brain. Your Wi-Fi is coated with white dust. It probably no, it wouldn't be, Haru. It would be all in the nose. It's probably the most perfectly clean space you've ever seen. Not a speck of white dust around the place. Do you like folk metal? Some stuff can be cool. But I wouldn't listen to it regularly. It wouldn't be like something I would actively listen to, but I come across them at times. I saw something, actually. I saw like an ad for a YouTube song, and it was really weird. It was like some kind of like patriotic song, or like, you know, singing about like ancestors and like, you know, that we'll never kneel, or, you know, it's in our blood, all that type of stuff. But there was something weird about the lyrics and the singing, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. And I started listening to the lyrics proper, and it had like in the background it had the Irish flag behind it, so it was very like, it had the sense of like, oh, it's trying to be like a patriotic Irish song. No, what I realized what it was an AI song. And I realized that because, one, the voices just felt off. The lyrics were just kind of weird. But what really tipped me off to it being AI was how generic the lyrics were. Now, it could be real, and maybe they're just terrible writers. but it was super generic. There was nothing about the actual lyrics that had anything to do with Ireland. It was very generic, like, just patriotic song. That's all I can say about it. I feel like you could slap any flag behind it. If you're not Merida, which Disney princess do you feel best matches your energy? I don't know Disney princess very well. That's, you know what? That's probably something. Let's do a quiz right now. Which Disney princess am I? I say as I half burp into the mic. True art requires a little soul. It really does. Some AI bro is gonna come in and be like, actually, I spend 20 hours a day prompting, fixing my prompts from my art. I thank you. I'll be like, shut up, nerd. Like, I use AI for stuff. I'm not gonna pretend I don't. I use it for like, work things. And just like it's good for research. It's good for searching things. It's like an advanced Google search. Although I hate AI writing. It's not X, it's Y. It's not just this, but also this. Or like, it writes in like single word or single sentence paragraphs. Disgusting. Looking at your theme and model reminds me of El Voutier. I recommend their song Bricktom. I will search that up and then I will pin it. Clanku, when are you doing the Unk quiz? We should do the Unk quiz sometime. We should definitely do the Unk quiz. Okay, wait, let me get this set up. Let me go not studio mode, because I definitely have... Do I have this set up for window capture? Oh, I do. Okay. Wait, hang on. I think I need to... What I need to do is I need to do this. I need to go into a separate one. Go studio mode. Because I don't know if it works like this. Okay, there we go. Then I'll just make this a little bigger. I'll pull this in here. We'll do a very quick quiz on which Disney princess I am. Does that sound good, guys? Would you like to do a quiz? I'm so pissed when I type to English, Chinese to English. ChatGPT is on top. Where's my Google Translate? Oh, dude, I hate the fact that it's... I hate... You're turning into Daya. Don't be mean to Dai. He's working really hard. He is You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. He has had a lot of stuff going on. He is working very, very hard at stuff. I'm delighted. You're excited, mermaid. I do hate that, like, anytime you search something now, Google AI is like, here's what I found on Reddit. I know you found it on Reddit. I was going to click the Reddit link, bitch. I know I searched up a random question and like, I know there's going to be a Reddit thread about it. Do you guys ever find that, like, you come up with, like, a question to yourself and it's like, has anyone ever asked this themselves? And you search it up and you're going to find, like, a Reddit question about it. Or, like, Quora. Quora is very strange. That's a strange website. People get very aggressive in those comments. You always add Reddit on the end now. You prefer human slop. It's very good because it will, like, there's going to be a random fucking Reddit that someone made about the specific thing you're asking about. It's perfect. But anyway, let us attempt the Disney quiz. Shall we? Hang on. I gotta move this. There we go. Let's see what Disney princess I am. Hello, Astian. Oh my god, is that the Warrior Scholar VTuber? Ruadh? It is, and we're about to do a Disney princess quiz. Hi, Astian. Hi. Guys, if you haven't already, go follow Astian. Go follow him. He's gonna be showing off his model soon. Debut. Let's go. Wait, actually, I don't know. Have you announced a specific date? I forget. I know you've shown off the model because I retweeted and I told everyone in my Discord to go do it. You can be Ariel too. I just realized. Someone said I was like the lady from Brave. So now we have to figure out which one I am. By the way, this is the official. Wait, oh god, I'm getting rated. No. Why am I getting rated? Why am I getting like rated when I'm doing the Disney princess quiz? Hello, Geltarin. Welcome in. Hi, Geltarin. Shout out. Wait, I think I have that actually. Spell. No, I typed show. I typed show. Why did I type show? Hey! Oh my god, I forgot I actually have that command. Hi guys, hi, my name's Ruadh. I'm the half human, half Tuatha, that being the god people of Ireland, and a member of the Fianna, a warrior scholar, as Astian Stella said. Show, for show, that's what the kids say. When they're like, when they finish the sentence and they want to be cool, you know? For show. Mike yearns for the mod duties. So do you, Haru. You're very mod-like too. I could see it, but I fear giving both of you that power. Didn't put an official day yet. Got you busy, but thanks for the shout out. No worry, Asian. I should probably do that as well. Is that gonna work? Oh, look at that. But I don't know if it like offers you the thing to follow them. That's the only thing. Yeah, Haru, you do like the sub raids and stuff. You keep track of things. My favorite weekend activity is curling up with a book, exploring a farmer's market, cooking, putting my feet up, anything outside, a walk in the woods, alone time, hanging with friends. What's my favorite weekend activity? We'll be doing the reading later. I do like curling up with a book, I must say. How many times has Ruadh put his feet up on the street? A walk in the woods with friends. True, that is pretty based. That is pretty fun. But I think I do like reading. I am a big fan of reading. The animal who will lead my inevitable royal parade is a raccoon. Oh, where's Puaro when you need him? A fish, a tiger, a dragon, a horse, an owl, an alligator. I mean owl. Specifically a barn owl. They're really cool. The most important quality I... Oh, fuck. No, Disney, you can't do this to me. You can't ask me this question, Disney. Oh, look at that! They're like pro woman. Well, I mean, you don't have to be. No, you're not even pro woman. They're just like pro like femcel. They're pro femcel. Because a woman could decide to want to be a princess. Yeah. I don't need a prince. Well, the people are wondering. I'm giggling so hard. Is Fuawa the prince? Fuawa is technically a prince. He is literally the Prince Chinchilla. I thought... This is pre-reading stream, Pip. That's what this is. This is pre-reading stream. So, this is the silly part of the stream. Also, I'm saying... Wait, Geltern, I forgot. What were you up to? You were playing Deep Rock Galactic based. I hope that was a lot of fun. Did you mine a lot of stuff? Anyway, while we talk about Deep Rock Galactic and like dwarves and like manly shit, what's the quality I look for a prince? Charming, kindness, dreaminess, humor, honor, personality, smolder. Or I don't need a prince. Humor, honor, personality, smolder. That's a weird... I know like a smoldering look. That's a weird thing to ask like what are probably 10-year-old girls doing this quiz. and 2,000-year-old Fenian warriors. Is your ideal prince on fire? I feel like personality is just kind of catch-all. Dreaminess is probably like he's handsome. I feel like they could have picked a better prince, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna say personality. Oh, she was based in Wreck-It Ralph. Which of these outfit elements are you most likely to wear? Sweats, a dress, heels, glass slippers, headband, well, a necklace, skirt, a vest. A dress. No, it's not a dress. It's Elena. It is Elena. Okay? It's not a dress. It's not a dress. Glass slippers is a bit on the nose. It really is. It's like you want to be this one, don't you? You strike me as a vest guy. I'm not much of a vest guy, no. I need to see Ruadh in a dress, not gonna lie. Draw it, girl. Yeah, you've drawn me in dresses, Pip. You've drawn Ruadh in dresses. Are we doing Ruadh? I guess if we're doing Ruadh, technically it would be a headband. I'm always wearing my headband. Thank you for taking off my cloak. It's getting I'm getting a little like embarrassed here. Oh no, wait, no, wrong buttons. There we go. I never find the perfect dress. I'm gonna go headband. Rendering is killing me. What is rendering? What like I hear this term. What actually is it? My favorite place to burst into song is a field of flowers, a forest, the beach, on the go, in my room, while doing chores. Oh, that's pretty fun. Doing chores is pretty good, but it's probably going to be in my room. Under a willow tree, I don't know, I definitely sing. Render unto me. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar, and render unto Ruadh what is Ruadh's. And render unto what is yours unto Ruadh as well. Make it all cohesive and pretty like the final shit. Ah, I see, I see. On the go, it'll probably be in my room, yeah. My favorite hairstyle is a stylish bob, so a bob cut, a high ponytail, long, really long. He's coming out so hot though. Oh, is that the boy you were drawing earlier? Long, really long. Bangs, sleek and straight, half up, half down. What? A top knot, practical. Let's go long, really long. Someday I want to be... We're doing Ruadh, by the way. I want to be a baker, a business owner. What game? A fashion designer, a zoologist, a singer, a writer, an athlete, a CEO. Out of all of these, if I could be a singer, that would be cool. In one word, my style is fun, classic, timeless, retro, bohemian. What? What do they mean bohemian? Ladies, fashionistas, explain. What does this mean? Vintage? It means vintage? But like, you have retro, you have timeless, you have classic. A deviant, eccentric. Ah, I see, I see. Where's Houseway? Called Binary Star Hero. You need more VNs in your life. Maybe. Mike. Bohemian, floaty hippie. I see, I see. Not retro, not fun, not bohemian. Kind of color. I like some colors. I like purples and stuff. Yeah, it's like all this is the same thing. I'm just gonna say not timeless. No, because timeless gives me like the scent of like suits and dresses and stuff, like very, very old-timey. Not old-timey, but like standard. I'm gonna say colorful. I live in a castle, cottage, small town, big city, apartment, tower, treehouse, mansion. Goddamn, most people probably select these two. That's kind of fucked up. Like, which lady, which actual people, unless they're like the Queen of England. Well, there's no Queen of England anymore. Like, they're royalty are growing up in a castle. You live in the woods. I do live in the woods. We'll say treehouse then. It's 4 p.m. That means it's time to hit the gym, take a stroll, have tea, work on my chess game, see what my friends are up to, have a snack, take a nap. It would probably be hit the gym. My favorite color is none of these. It is purple. Purple. You might be like a French person living in a tower. Oh, you think I am French, eh, Mike? Mike, you think I would be French? I do not think I would be French, no. Out of all these, I'll go blue. You're Aurora. Wait, who is this? I don't recognize this Disney princess. Aurora. Anyway. Oh, I see. Anyway. She's Sleeping Beauty. Someone get me a needle to stab him. I haven't heard her name in a very, very long time, I'm going to be honest. It feels like I always just knew her as Sleeping Beauty. You don't know your princesses, Rua? I do not. I know some of them. Eepin Beauty. I guess I would be Eepin Beauty. I do like Eepin. I do like Eepin. And you know what? If I was to be woken up with like a little peck, a little smooch, I probably wouldn't be too against that. So you guys think I'd be Sleeping Beauty, right? You guys think? Well, if you guys think I was like, choo, choo, choo. You guys would think I'd like fit there, right? Peck from an old man. Why does it have to be an old man? Why does it have to be an old man? What the fuck? By a guy. At least Mike doesn't specify it has to be old. Would Fua be the prince to wake him up, you guys? Fua's gonna like crash out on me one day because of you guys shipping me with him. Lives in the woods, a dreamer, noble and open to sacrifice, loves owl and to sing. By an old... Why? I don't want it to be old. I don't want it to be old. Fua's not technically old because he has like immortal genes apparently. And really good skincare. You're gonna get shipped eventually. This sounds like you're gonna put me in a box and ship me away. We're shipping you somewhere, Rua. Speaking of, before we begin the stream, I suppose I might mention this, or before we begin the reading. There is a potential around, I want to say mid-July to August, that I may be going on a secondment to England for, I was told, potentially. Now, there's a chance I might not have this happen, but it might be 6 weeks to 3 months. I have no idea what the schedule would actually be like. If I would be over there, like, I don't think I'd be over there permanently. It would probably, I hope, and I could definitely come over and back. I mean, I would definitely be like planning on setting up weekends if I come back, but it might be something where it's like maybe I'm over there for a week and then I'm at home, or maybe I'm over for a few days every week. So it could be something like that, you know. It could be a lot more manageable, but I really have no idea. I really have no idea what it's like, but I am gonna go for it because it is a very exciting opportunity. In terms of just, I guess, professional growth. Bring your PC with you. I am planning, once I figure out like what the schedule is, and if I'm going to be over there for a long time without my PC, I'm probably going to buy a gaming laptop so that I can continue to stream. I would not want to not stream for so long because I genuinely worry that if I didn't, one, my channel would die. Two, I think if I like didn't stream for like a month or two, I would find it really, really difficult to get back into it. And it would take time for me to start streaming properly again. He's going to disappear. He's going for milk. Exciting. Lucky England, they get to adopt you temporarily. Don't die, Dio. I'll try not to die. I'll wear some stab-proof vests. With salsa. No, wait. Oh, no, it is. No, Haru. No, that's sad. Don't say that. We would all forget how to say your name. Yeah, I come back. You're all like, hi, Ruadh. Ruv. Radish. Hi, Radish. It's nice to see you again. Rulical Harry. Ruv. But yeah, I like when I was told, I was literally told today, and I was given the day to think about it. I kind of need to give an answer tomorrow. I think I will say yes. Now, there's a chance I just don't get chosen for it, but there's also a chance that something else might pop up, you know? But it is a good opportunity, and I think I'd be a bit foolish. It's a short-term opportunity as well. It's a short-term thing. So I think I'd be stupid not to. I will say when it happened, when I was told, I did immediately think of streaming. I was like, wait, how am I going to stream? But yeah, I thought I would mention it early before, like, instead of like, oh, by the way, next week I'm leaving for like 4 months. But no, once I have something kind of figured out, I will hope you get it, to be honest. Go get that bread. Thank you, Haru. Thank you. I'm leaving on a jet plane. Just bring us with you. I will. I was literally saying to myself, I was walking around my room, I was like talking to myself like I do. I was like, okay, if I go, I'm going to bring, if I have to go for like a couple weeks, I'm going to bring this and this and this. And I pointed at my microphone and my streaming setup, and I was like, I'm going to bring this and this and this. And I better not forget this because I'm going to need it for streaming. But yeah. And now it is very painful because I once again just dropped money on, you know, a GPU, so I better get to use it for at least a couple of weeks. And it better actually arrive this time because I had some issues with delivery and I had to get it refunded and I had to buy it again. That was a whole ordeal. But Amazon were actually quite quick to you have money? No, maybe. Can you turn off the music? Sure, we can. We'll be going into the readings soon, so we'll just allow the kind of night sounds and the thingies. What is for you won't pass up. They'd be lucky to have you. You won't be stuck if you don't love it after all. Though I'm sure you will. It's an adventure. But we'll hope you're back to stream for 2. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mermaid. That's very kind of you. But no, I do enjoy streaming. I don't want to leave you guys. That was literally one of my first thoughts when I was told, and I was sitting there trying to think how to respond, and I was like, shit, streaming, how would I do this? Can't believe he hates us. No, I don't hate you, Legend. I don't hate you guys. Even if you guys may bully me sometimes. But yeah, it is a good opportunity. So we'll see. I could literally come back like in 2 days and be like, yeah, I didn't get it. Someone else was chosen. I was too late or something. It's like, well, you know, can't do much about it. So I'm here for now anyway. But it's possible and not unlikely that something else could come up that I might do. That would also take time. So we'll see. We'd figure stuff out though. We'd figure stuff out. But yeah, it could be a case of like let me say this. Let me say this. If I was going to be like oh yeah, you're meant to come over for like the next 2 months, like 3 months, and you're staying over here, you can go back on the weekends, I would be bringing my PC. I'd probably just be better off bringing no, I'd be nervous leaving it at home, like having I'd be nervous leaving it in fucking London for like a weekend, coming back home. No, fuck that. Or wherever I would be. I come back and like my fucking brand new 5080 is gone. Get a gaming laptop. That's probably the best idea, yeah. Oh, more money. But it's also kind of cool because then I'd have like a good gaming laptop, so that would be pretty sick. Yeah. But yeah, or go PNG. I could go PNG. We go back to just PNG. Do a. But yeah. I thought it was good to mention beforehand, just in case it happens. Because I could imagine like maybe my first week over there could be a little bit. I'm not reading right now, Casey, but we are reading in a moment. I'm planning to do it. I could imagine the first week over there could be a little hectic, I'm trying to find my bearings, so I might not stream much. But I could, you never know, I could stream to relax. Yeah, that type of thing. Yeah, I fucking relax with you guys, yeah, sure. I'd come in, you'd be laughing at me as I find my woes, as I explain my woes. Or just yap in Discord. Yeah, something like that, yeah. Even small things like movie nights and things. That would probably be a good way to just be able to chill out. Your rose? Did I say rose? I don't think so. I don't know what you meant. Anyway, good stream. See you guys. No, I just dropped that. I might be going away, and then I leave. But yeah. Good to let you guys know. Good to give you guys heads up. Again, might not happen, but all good. But with that, I think we will get into the reading. My planet needs me, he says, before elevating out of stream. I am using it. I hope it does, because I'm going to steal your money. What the fuck? Is this your plan? I do well. I like do my best to accumulate a small like living, and then you just come in and swipe it all. What? Wait, Haru, share it with me and feed me skip. So not only will you swipe my money, but you'll also be telling me to get more skebs. I gave you like 2 perfectly good skebs, 2 for both scenarios, not a moment ago. You'll be here for Brian Boru. Thank you, Casey, who is starting in a second. I had a good day, but long day. Charity work during the day, counselling work in the evening. So we'll be off to dream soon to reset for tomorrow. Delightful to hear some of your story and your existing news. Wishing everyone a peaceful evening with expected magic. Oh, that's so sweet, Mermaid. Thank you for joining. I hope you have a nice sleep. And that's a very good day. That's a very good deed day. Hope you have a nice day tomorrow. More. You're underestimating my appetite. It is scary. She could be like if they accepted art as like in food eating contests, what do you think? I have a big back. Gonna shush for the reading and writing stream. Oh, you fucking writing and reading. Disgusting. Me too. I should have a villain day tomorrow. No, don't do that. You go back to your counselling job and you just give everyone the wrong advice. It is reading and writing. It is reading and writing. Anyway, let me go do something real quick. There we go. I will say I was I did like when I posted my art. So do, do you mind? I'm trying to tell a story here. Book. No, you're just grabbing my hand. Yeah, when I posted that art, someone made a passing comment that they were like, well, it should be more green. Let's say. I don't know if you guys might know who that might be. So there's a possibility that there may be like a duo skeb art coming of the kind of variety we did recently. So I don't know if you guys would enjoy that. They are another VTuber. And I will say, to the disappointment of the Fujos, it's not going to be a man. I gave you boat. I gave you boat to satisfy everyone. I will say, I'm open to any art. Don't boo me. To like any to any like friends that want to do that type of stuff. It was a lovely boat, a dinghy, if you will. I want to do that type of like skeb. This is why I have to do the boy to boy art. Do both ways, bro. Well, this one is only one way, but like again, if there's someone who wants to, I'm going to beat you. What if I commissioned Mike to draw? Mike, NSFW commission right now. Draw someone and me. He's appeared. But yeah, I'll keep an eye out for. What if I like that? Anyway. It's time to read. And we are returning to our work on Brian Boru and the Battle of Clontarf. And actually, we've sort of reached the Battle of Clontarf now. We've really dealt with the rise of Brian Boru and his real kingship. And now we move into Chapter 4, Clontarf in the Irish Annals. Everyone? Pip. Anyway, let me take a quick sip. No king before Brian Boroma had attained the personal hegemony over all Ireland that he had secured by the year 1011. Every one of his contemporary kings, either directly by his own submission or to Brian, or, we must assume, the sources being entirely silent on the subject, indirectly by means of submission to his provincial overlord. Hello, Kofsu. Welcome in. Had accepted Brian as Dalcaish, of Dalcaish as lord. And the greater kings, and perhaps those beneath them on the pyramid of kingship, had come into Brian's presence and acknowledged his suzerainty, some travelling back with him to his place at Cain Corrid, to enter his house in person as a sign of submission, handing over hostages or pledges of hostages and tribute, and accepting ceremonial wages as vassals did of their lord. But it was personal. It was an authority achieved by the imposition of military force in person. After all, the only certain constituent of Brian's army was the muster of the men of Dalcaish. It is just that, as he established his dominion throughout Munster, erstwhile enemies incurred the military obligations that came with political vassalage, and his army swelled to include levies from elsewhere in the province. And as he imposed his supremacy beyond Munster, so these kings too, who yielded before his juggernaut, incurred obligations to provide their own military service. Thus it became cumulatively more difficult for each still autonomous provincial overking to withhold submission. Happy Pride Month. Happy Pride. Oh man, I did just deny. I did just say like, no, we're not getting like BL type art. Am I like in trouble now because I said that? I basically said straight only for the next commission. Oh no. Oh no, I'm gonna get beaten up. I'm gonna get beaten up in Pride Month. Cancelled. But the problem for Brian McKenneteague was that when that submission came, it came at a point of the sword. Brian's was a military rather than an institutional hegemony. Each of his provincial counterparts in turn was pressured in submission by the presence of a large and presumably marauding army in his territory. Take that army away, and the imperative to stay loyal and waited less urgently on such fiercely independent kings. Furthermore, each of Brian's counterparts as a provincial overking was a potential Brian, had the potential to do to others what Brian had done to him, and surely therefore his dominion could not last. Let's jump him, guys. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to start punching. The undermining of Brian's hegemony. The most restive of Brian's new vassal was his son-in-law, Flabertuch Uanail of Kinneal Noan. It is not surprising. The kings of Kinneal Noan had come to expect that they would exercise overkingship over all of northern Unail by asserting their power over Kinneal Conoil and Argiala, and that they could secure dominion over all the north, as it was by forcing the submission of the Ulaid. These prerogatives had been undermined by Brian's intrusive overlordship, which Flabertuch himself had been forced to acknowledge. But one can well imagine him bridling at the injustice of it. Excuse me. What is more, an Unail overking of Infoclé, the north, could traditionally contemplate establishing himself as king of Tara by forcing the submission of the southern Unail. But the kingship of Tara had been held now for nearly a third of a century by Mael Shocknail MacDonald, who was firmly subordinate to Brian. This too is something Flabertuch had resented. The force of tradition dictated that of the two halves of Ireland, it was Leath Cuan, the northern half, taking its name for Flabertuch's supposed ancestor Con Caitatuch, that should dominate over the southern half, whose very name, Leath Moga, derived from Moog Nuadut, ancestor not of Brian but of the Oanocta, literally meant the half of the slave. What if I like that? You like being punched? There's some people that do like that type of stuff. If you like it, like if I hit you and you make like a weird noise, I'm probably gonna just back away slowly. In 1011, therefore, the very year in which Brian sealed his universal hegemony of the Irish polity by securing the submission of Kinneal Conoil, Flabertuch Uanail set about undoing the whole superstructure. He launched an invasion of Ulaid, marching to the ring fort of Dun Eachduch, burning the dune and demolishing its ballia, the nucleated settlement around it, at which point he secured the pledge of the Dal Fiatuch king of the Ulaid, thereby supplanting Brian as the latter's overlord. Yummy. The following year he was back in County Down, raiding further still all the way to the Ards Peninsula, from which he took, quote, the greatest of spoils, both in captives and cattles, that a king ever took, though they are not counted. So they're just making stuff up. You're listening while lurking? Thank you, Casey. I hope you enjoy. And that year he marched twice on Kinneal Conoil, taking a large prey of cattle on the first occasion, and on the second occasion, when his energies were concentrated in the County Sligo area, defeating in battle Kinneal Conoil's king, Mael Ruanoid Uamail Dorid. This attempt by Flabertuch to extend his authority throughout the northern kingdoms brought a response from the overking of all the Unail, north and south, Mael Shocknail, who marched north while Flabertuch was absent in Sligo and Donegal, and burned the Kinneal Noan inauguration site at Tulloch Och in County Tyrone. Brian too expressed his apprehensiveness about the situation by marching north into North Louth, but does not seem to have ventured into Kinneal-known territory. In fact, the Annals of Ulster, always interested in the affairs of Armagh, simply report that on this hosting Brian granted immunity to the churches subject to it, and the only activity in the north that it reports of for the following year, by or on behalf of Brian, is a raid by Mael Shocknail at the request of Brian and the Abbot of Armagh. It was not directed against the Northmen of the Northern Unail, however, but rather against the Connealy Mirthmana of North Loud, for the profanation of patrician shrines, including the breaking of Bachal Isa, St. Patrick's staff. I thought about Ruadh a few days ago, but I forgot what it was. It's very hard to remember what a Ruadh is. It's very vague. Hello, son, as I see you. I hope you're doing well. There are shades here of fiddling while Rome burns, because in the same year, 1013, Flabertuck Unail sought to build on his new northern dominance by leading an army in the southern Unail territory. By this time, his forces had reached a hillside in the vicinity of Kells, County Meath. Mael Shocknail seemed to have mustered to oppose him, but, not for the first time in Mael Shocknail's career, he proved less than effective, the outcome being that he abandoned the hill to Flabertuck. The revolt of Dublin and Leinster. Rome burning? What is this propaganda nonsense? Rome never burned. Rome is still the exact same as it ever was. By now, Brian's authority was beginning to evaporate. We hear that in 1012 or 1013 he was busy fortifying palaces. If this was ostentatious, the timing was bad. But perhaps Brian was instead readying himself to defend his home soil. The king of Kinneal Connoil, Mael Ruadh Ua Mael Dorid, who had so recently come into Brian's peace, launched an invasion of Connacht, the territory of another of Brian's vassals, slaughtered the Connacht army in battle, and devastated Magnai in North Roscommon. This would not have happened if the Kinneal Connoil had feared Brian's reaction, but they had no cause to fear, because this was the year in which a more widespread revolt broke out against him. It is the eternal city. It ontologically can't end. This rebellion was led by the Norse of Dublin and the Leinstermen, although it is not entirely clear which was the driving force. It was certainly considered momentous, all the annals applying the term Colchid, war, to it, which is hitherto very rarely used, and usually only for major conflict with the Vikings. In fact, the word does not previously occur in the Annals of Inishfallen, but is used for the first time in 1013 and then again for the traumatic events of 1014. As far as the Annals of Inishfallen were concerned, the leading part was taken by the Norse. Great warfare took place that year between the foreigners and the Irish. Fócama nachtar Colchid Mora Ishin Bladain Shin Éter Gulu Agus Goidelu. The Annals of Ulster and the Four Masters, on the other hand, have it that in 1013 the Leinstermen and the foreigners were at war with Brian. Lagan Agus Goil do Colchig Free Brian. This accords with the interpretation of the crisis found in the Coga Galig Regaliv, which at this point largely abandons its earlier approach, which was, to be fair to it, the generating of a muscular but substantially faithful narrative from the bare bones of an analytic source, in favour of fiction. Thus it imagines an extraordinary set of events now unfolding, and here the villain of the piece is not a Norseman, but Mael Morda MacMorchada, the king of Leinster, urged on by his sister Gormley, who it envisions was still Brian's wife in 1013. She was also, of course, the mother of King Sitric of Dublin, from her marriage to Amlaib Coron, who died in 981. So there was a tight nexus of conspirators. But the Coga cannot be right in claiming that Gormley was still married to Brian in 1013. Even if we imagine him having a formal aristocratic wife at the time as a secondary wife or concubine of less noble standing, it is hard to imagine Brian having two aristocratic queens concurrently. The reason we can be so certain that the Koga is drifting into unreality here is that while it is true that in 1009 Brian became a widower when his then wife, Dub Colbeig, daughter of the King of Connacht, died, arguably freeing him to marry Gormlaith, which would neatly fit the Koga's belief that she was in residence at Cain Cordd in 1013. The fact is that by this time her son with Brian, Dunca, was of fighting age, as we have seen, so that Brian's marriage to her must have preceded his marriage to Dun Colbeig, placing Gormlaith union sometime in the 990s, if not earlier. Imagine having an aristocratic wife. Historically speaking, it's a bad idea. I don't know, King Henry had multiple and he survived all of them. I don't know, did she do bad? In any event, this is a reminder not to take too seriously the Koga's claim for what happened in 1013. According to it, Gormlaith's brother, Mael Muirtha, set out for Brian's palace at Cain Cordd, bearing 3 pine masts for ships, cut from the trees of Fiad Galba, a forest on the borders of Kildare and Offaly. One given by the local dynasty of Ua Fealgi, another by the Ua Muir Daig of South Kildare, and the third by Mael Muirtha's own North Kildare dynasty of Ua Fellon, or Fellane. No, Fellon. Presumably they represented tribute, which Mael Muirtha, as Mence Lord of the peoples in question, was proffering on their behalf to their overlord. Random barbarian sorceresses are greater than pretty princesses. Ooh, a sorceress is high risk, high reward. Imagine being one of Maeve's husbands. Is that the king whose wives died? I don't remember. That was king. That was, yeah, they died, Haru. They went chop, 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 chop. Fourth by Ruadh. No. I didn't kill anyone. I wasn't in England at that time period. I was doing other stuff. I remember the song. I remember it. I vaguely remember it, but I don't remember how it goes. I don't remember it at all. I remember there is a song. Where were we? Divorced, beheaded, and died. Divorced, beheaded, survived? No, only some of Henry's wives got chopped. Some of them survived, if that makes it better. Yeah, it's a little better. It's like, I mean, to be fair, from King Henry's point of view, it's kind of like, like he could have gone for 100%. I'm just saying, it seems a little lazy of him. But, Speaking of, how come Ruadh hasn't introduced us to his girlfriend yet? Okay, fine. Saoirse. imagine I did that. Oh god, I'm ruining the ASMR. I'm sorry, guys. Speaking of which, how come Ruadh hasn't... Oh, I read that. Horrible histories mention is a psyop to make you think the 21st century is better than Pax Romana. Stop holding my hand. Get off my hand. Book, you're not... It's not book, you're just grabbing my hand. Who the heck is Saoirse? That's like one of the most common known Irish names abroad. You should know how to spell that. Who the heck is Saoirse? Mike is like readying his spear. Hello, Sochi. It's nice to see you. How are you? How's the Sochi? Imagine a random man answers back. I would be scared. I would be intimidated. It's either Circa or Sersh. I misspelled the second one. It's Saoirse. That's how you spell it. You might know it from Saoirse Ronan or some other. It is, yeah. Irish names are kind of like French names, where the spelling is barely a recommendation. No, it makes sense in Irish. It makes sense in Irish. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, Mr. fucking every name ends in ski, Poland boy. Fucking Romanski, Skolansky, Dovsky. That's more That's more Russian. Fucking Stelasky. I only know it. Only know it from a VTuber's girlfriend who is called Saoirse. They're hard to pronounce, but the spelling adds up. Good night. Good night, Casey. We're going back to the reading in a second. We're just chatting a little bit. I will actually return to it because I'm enjoying this kind of build up to the Battle of Clontarf. Where were we? Oh yeah, here we were. Like a very relaxed one. I'm glad, Casey. I hope you have a nice deep sleep. Isn't that your daughter? Oh yeah, that is my daughter. That's my daughter. We love Saoirse. I forget what she did. I forgot what she did in the end. I think she was just like really cool. Mael Mortha was wearing a tunic of gold with gold border and silver fasteners, earlier presented him by Brian, but burst one of the clasps on the way, and therefore when he arrived at Cain Corrid he gave it for mending to his sister, Brian's wife Gormlaith. She, however, cast it into the fire, and reproached Mael Mortha for accepting a position of vassalage to Brian, which none of their ancestors would have tolerated. Next morning, when Brian's most senior son right now, by the way, is screaming because he just heard about like some kind of clothing getting destroyed, and I didn't go into more detail about what it looked like. Next morning, when Brian's most senior son Mirked and Brian's nephew Conaig were playing the board game called Fichel. I always forget to pronounce this. Fichel. The Leinster king helped Conaig win. But Mirked then reminded Mael Mortha that the last time he had offered advice was to the Norse at the time of their defeat, apparently at the Battle of Glen Mama in 999, which caused Mael Mortha to retort that he would do so again, and he therefore withdrew from Cain Corrid in anger, without Brian's permission. Brian sent a messenger, Corcoran, after him to call him back, as he had not brought with him his Turistal, the ceremonial wages that a vassal accepts from his lord. But when the messenger caught up with Mael Mortha on the eastern end of the wooden bridge at Killaloe, Mael Mortha lashed out at him with his horsewhip and then carried on northwards. Brian refused to compel him to return, as it infringed conventions of hospitality, saying that such compulsions should be applied at Mael Mortha's doorstep, not Brian's. That night, Mael Mortha was at the house of the King of Uabeda at Senlis Abaon in County Laois, and early next morning he arrived in County Kildare at a place called Garmthanoch, home of Dunleig MacTuachel, the king of the Uamurdig. There the nobles of Leinster met in convention, cum Doyle, and when Mael Mortha told them of the insulting words of Brian's son Mirked, they decided to turn against Brian. You know, digging into the story of medieval people throwing poop out of windows on the passers-by below. I'm pretty sure it is very much untrue. Like, as Astian is saying, it probably did like occur in some places, but like, you're talking about like, I imagine that is one of the quickest ways, one, for like disease to spread, and two, for like you throw it on someone and suddenly they're kicking in your door trying to kill you. That would not be conducive to, you know, a functioning society. It is at this point the Koga resumes weaving analytic data into its tail and therefore records Flabertuck's hosting into southern Unail territory, which, as we have seen, is noted in the annals under 1013. The Koga, however, adds an interesting detail. that one of the casualties of this great assault was a Feargorada, or confidential retainer of Brian's, by the name of Osley, son of Dub Cain Mac Imer, who was Mormamer da Merib, meaning something like chief collector among his, Brian's, collectors of Jews, a tax collector basically. And it would seem that since Flairbatuk's raid was in what is now County Meath, Brian must have had officials stationed there to collect the revenue due to him as King of Tara's overlord. There seems no reason to doubt the author's word on this, as this man's father is recorded elsewhere, Dubcain Mac Imer, having been one of the Norse of Limerick, killed when Brian stormed their base in Inishcathig, Scattery Island, in 977, shortly after he succeeded to kingship. By the look of things, after Brian was reconciled with the Norse, they took service with him, and he used them as tax collectors, perhaps exploiting an established expertise in the field. As the events of 1013, the Coga then reports virtually word for word the accounts of the annals of Ulster of a raid by Ua Ruark and Ua Cairda on Galenga, in which, however, the latter was killed by Mael Shocknail, and in common with the annals, the Coga describes Mael Shocknail taking the initiative against Brian's rebels by leading an army into the Norse-controlled territory surrounding Dublin, which the Four Masters and the Chronicon Scotorum called Criach Gaul, and the Annals of Inishfallen call, for the first time on record, by the more familiar name Finn Gaul, from which we get the modern Fingal. The real problem was horse poop, so being horse poop sweeper. Ah, that makes sense. There would be a lot of horses. Were you laughing at the crash outs suggested, Mike, or were you laughing at me? Age of video photography, so we can clearly see how that worked. There's a reason people took their shoes off when going to a home. People wore exclusively boots in houses that had boot scrapers outside every door. Oh, here he is. He's going on about shoes and clothing. The soles were flats. Scraping them would clear off 99% of dirt. But even still, you took off your shoes. Ah. Someone actually did a blog taking pictures of all the boot scrapers in the older parts of New York. Ah, that's really cool. A poopy out of window. That shouldn't make me laugh, but it did. That was funny. I'm glad you're doing well, Sochi. Thank you for the head pat. Thank you, thank you. I hate that I can't tell you guys off for talking about poop in my chat, because you're talking about like an actual historical thing too. Like, you found a way to get around it. Well played. Street drains and manhole covers. What, can't a man enjoy good plumbing and good sewage systems? Hello, Chisu. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. If the object was to punish the rebels, it is noticeable that Mael Shocknail did not enter the territory controlled by Mael Mortha, south of the Liffey, but rather burned Citric's heartland in the north county Dublin, all the way to the Hill of Howth. But it then went disastrously wrong for Mael Shocknail. A contingent of his army was overtaken at Drenon, just south of Swords, by King Citric of Dublin and by Mael Mortha in that order. The Annals of Ulster describing the full-scale battle that ensues as a defeat of Mael Shocknail's army by, quote, the foreigners and the Leinstermen, Ria Nalib Agus Lagniv. Again in that order, in which 200 of Mael Shocknail's men, including his son Flann, nicknamed the Scotsman, in Talbanoch, were killed. At this point, it seems, it was the triumphant Norse who sought to press home their advantage by taking the war to Brian, although it is interesting that this assault on Munster is omitted for some reason in the Coga. Just about any no-no topic can be talked about in a historical context. True. I'm keeping an eye on you guys. Don't be getting smart with me. Hang on, let me sit back a little. Where were we? We were... just bullshit your way through the pronunciations. It really is. It really is, son. You can get away with a lot of mispronunciations as long as you sound confident. And also, like, if you're learning a language, if you want to sound more like fluent, not even fluent, but just like sound a little better, you do kind of have to put on the voice a little bit. You kind of have to put on the accent. Hi, Fox. You don't want us to be smart? I don't want you guys to be sneaky, trying to talk about things, gross things in chat under the vibe of historicalness. Wasn't there one gal who bullshitted the entirety of the Scots Wikipedia? Yeah, there was. He was some random American, I think, and he just wrote it all. I baked into a language. Many of the words simply cannot be spoken with some extent of the accent. Yeah, no, they absolutely can. Like, there's like, especially something like a tonal language like Chinese, where it's like, no, you kind of have to sound, I won't say racist, but you do need to kind of have that tone to your voice to sound proper. Me when speaking Chinese. How else are we supposed to do it? I don't know. The tones killed me, man. Even the concept of tonal language. When I learned that, like, when I was looking at Japanese and stuff, and like I saw like a few videos where like, oh, there's actually tones in Japanese as well. You're meant to go up, and like only in certain sentences do you come back to, oh, whatever the actual rules are. I was like, man, if I can just say the words, that would be enough for me, man. Why are there 5? What? 5? Do you mean like 5 tones? I'm being a little bit... I'm kind of putting it on a little bit. I didn't write the tone marks in Pinyin. My teacher let it go. What's Pinyin? Is Pinyin like writing school? Thank you, Chisa, for the hydrate. I have a little bit left. Yeah, like how some languages don't have a separation between or and L. It's a avalar tap. Alveolar. How do you pronounce that again? Velar. Alveolar. I don't know where the stress is on this word. But yeah, it's like I mean, Japanese has that, don't they? I think doesn't. No, I remember Astian, a Polish friend of mine, explained that when he was learning English, he couldn't distinguish. Like, he knew the difference, but he could never distinguish the difference between like the short and long e sound or I sound. So like, bitch and beach sounded the exact same to him. The Chinese writing, that's not a character. Like how you say it. Oh, I see. If I ever tried learning Japanese, I would immediately get distracted with learning old Japanese and Chinese. Oh, you absolutely would, son. You would you would become an expert in that and not be able to speak a single word in Japanese. Anyway, let's get back to our book. Where were we? Oh, hang on. I'm going to sneeze. No, it's stuck. I can feel it. I can feel the sneeze. I hate this. Used to have tone indicators people would use. Really? Wait. Like I do think that there is a distinction. Like, I remember before someone was like, oh, well, English has tones too, and then they gave examples of like saying something angrily or softly, or like, you know, the same sentence but like said slightly differently. It's like, that's different to if I say the word fridge but I say fridge or fridge, It means two completely different fucking things. Okay? It's different. I cast sneezes, restrict. That's fucked up, son. I grew up with English very early on, but sometimes struggle with words like rural. That might just be a me thing, though. I could see, like, I'm trying to think of what words I get tripped up on. Edging his sneeze. Bless you in advance. Thank you. I'll hold on to that. The Norse of Dublin, the Annals alone tells us, put to sea and sailed around the south coast, venturing up the narrow confines of Cork Harbour to attack the monastery of Cork, and presumably the little Norse trading settlement there, which may well have been an economic threat to them. Their forces were slaughtered, notwithstanding, which they then travelled further till they reached Ireland's most southerly point at Olea and Cape Clear, but again it proved ill-starred for them, Sitrick losing a son, Olafur, and probably also a nephew by the name of Matgamon, ironically perhaps a name adopted in honour of Brian's brother of the same name. Hello Yuki, as I see you, and hello Gusto, hello, as I see you guys. How do you say Marquis and Viscount? I'm reading shit, and when I hear, I go, so Marquis is Marquis, Viscount, I would just say Viscount, yeah. What the fuck, don't pinch me, Lapsalok, get off of me. Nice to see you too, yeah. How do you say, do you want me to say it like Lieutenant, son? Or do you want me to be American and call it Lieutenant? I can't roll my oars, and I stand by derogatory remark of calling it the dog oar. Oh my god. You struggle to say rural. It's a little tricky of a word, I gotta say, yeah. Voiced and voiceless TH used to have their own tonal indicators, being 0 and fucking squiggly line. Circle. With a hat. In English. I heard someone called it Viscount. Yeah, I have heard Viscount before as well. I'm actually not 100% sure on that one. Colonel is fucked up. Colonel's a fucked up one. Colonel doesn't make any sense. I don't get that. I'm sure there's a perfectly valid reason, but like, there is no or in there. I don't hear the word lieutenant said much, and I always wonder, are they actually calling it lieutenant or are they calling it lieutenant? Colonel? Colonel sounds better in your head. It does. When I think of a colonel, I think of like popcorn. The Normans? Yeah, son, you can blame the Normans. Anyway. Instead of this naval assault, the Coga reports a land invasion of Meath by the Norse and Leinstermen, who plundered as far as Fore in County Westmeath, taking an innumerable prey of cattle and captives from the monastic elite there. The four masters and annals of Loch Kay have termed. I'm going to write this out before I spell it, before I say it. It's literally called. It's a place, apparently. Wait, where is it? There we go. That's how they spell it, isn't it? Let me check. Yep. Term on feckin'. That's a funny looking word. County Loud instead of. Don't pinch me, Casey. Instead, get off of me. Instead of 4, and places at the beginning of 1014. In the aftermath of this assault, the Coga has it that Mael Shocknail sent messengers to Brian, complaining that his territory was being ravaged, and his sons killed, and praying to Brian by preventing the foreigners of Leinster, Brefna, Kepra, and Kinneal Noan joining together to make war on him. Term on the feckin' TV. The Coga therefore paints what comes next as Brian's response to this request for protection from Mael Shocknail. It claims that the men of Munster and Connacht under Brian undertook an expedition against Osraig and Leinster, and that Brian's son Merced plundered Leinster, coming to Glendalough and burning the province from there to Kilmainham, to the Fecha or Green of Dublin. This invasion of Leinster is confirmed by the annals of 1013, which have Brian camping out at Sliabh Merca. After Merca had reached Dublin, Brian and the rest of their forces joined him, Brian setting up camp at a place called Auth in Caerthan, which is unidentified but is a ford on the Liffey, or one of its tributaries, where he remained for more than 3 months, from the feast of Saint Ciaran until Christmas, so that being the 9th of September until Christmas, having made a siege and blockade around Dublin and an encampment there. The annals of Inishfallen say of Brian's siege that he did not bring about peace. The Coga says instead that neither the Norse nor the Leinstermen, who seem to have remained with the Norse in Dublin, gave them a hostage or a battle or peace overture, and therefore, when his provisions were exhausted at about Christmas, Brian retired home. From the contemporary coverage of the situation, albeit with a strong tinge of retrospection, we are left in no doubt that all knew that both sides were heading for a major confrontation. What were you guys saying? My favourite part about the Normans is that their chainmail pajamas in medieval art. That is cute. Term on feckin'. They will never unfeckin' your term. That Ruadh Quilta guy in chat is a bit of a lurker, but he always comes out of the woodwork to provide spellings of obscure words. Hello, Breakor. Thank you for the first time chat. It's very nice to meet you. Go on, Muff. How are you guys doing, though? Yuki, I lurk. Enjoy your lurk, Yuki. Have a good lurk. And Gusto, I hope you've been doing well, by the way. I hope you've been doing well. I know it's tough being in Australia. Not even just like trying to catch my stream, just like living in Australia in general is kind of tough. It seems like tricky, but yeah, I hope you've been doing well. Man-sized spiders eating the local villagers in Australia. Average Australian day. Termon is just one of the 74 words for church. Yeah, I remember that being a thing in Irish. Just being loads of words. Well, yeah, it's tough everywhere. Get in line, bud. Push-ups? Oh, do you want me to do push-ups, Sochi? Let me see if I can read a paragraph before I see them come in. Clontarf in the Annals of Inishfallen. The first thing that should be said about the Battle of Clontarf is that, such was its later notoriety, we cannot be certain that any of our annalistic accounts have not had later legends stitched into them. We have to be very cautious, therefore, not to accept latter exaggerated detail as fact, but distinguishing one from the other is not easy. Thank you, Sochi, for the head pat. While you do push-ups, can you tell me whether it seems possible to yawn while doing so? Look how he yawned and I'm suspicious. I feel like you could. I don't see why you couldn't. I think it would depend on timing and how you're doing them. But it does seem a little suspicious. Teeny bit. Yeah, like I'm just sitting there going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, skip a few, 51, 8, 7, 2, 4, 6, fuck. Damn it. I didn't want to say that word. I think that's the worst part about the 6-7 meme. I think that's the worst part about the 6-7 meme is that it has become a fucking like seed in my head that interrupts my thoughts. It's like a bug. It's like a parasite in my brain that the moment I think of the words 6 and 7 together, it like instantly stops all thought. I hate it. There's fakes counting push-ups and doesn't even try to make it seem real. They just keep playing the game while allegedly doing them. I should do that sometime. I hate it because every time I hear someone say something, oh, it was 6 or 7 years ago, the Gen Alpha in me giggles. Dude. Oh, what was it? What was it again? Something happened in a meeting I was at where one of them said something. It wasn't perfect, but it was close enough that you could have made like a Ligma balls joke on him. I can't remember exactly what it was, and I had to hold my fucking tongue because I was like, "Oh, don't say that, Ruadh. That's how you get in trouble. That's how you get fired." Anyway, of all the accounts of the battle, like I'm just imagining doing that to like a 60-year-old businessman. He's like a CEO of a company, and he gets he gets sugma balled by a fucking, well, handsome, eternally young 2,000-year-old. Rua's defense of the HR inquest. Yeah, but it was really funny. That would probably be my defense. It would probably be, handsome. Yeah. Okay, maybe that was a little bit egotistical. Probably not true. Where were you? You can't punish me. I'm hot. Yeah, I'll just pull the clavicular. Wait, no, it's clavicular. How do you say it? Whenever I read it, I always think of clavicle. No, it's clavicular. Isn't it? Just say thick, that's true. Or is it clavicular? Why am I thinking clavicular? No, I think I'm just thinking of clavicular because I'm imagining him driving a vehicle and knocking down a stalker. What kind of name is clavicular anyway? Who names themselves after clavicles? Well, clavicles are very nice. I'm sorry, they are though. They're a very nice part of the body. Yeah, but like why? Well, maybe he had very good clavicles. I don't know. I do agree with the internet. I think his nose job was a mistake. I think his old nose looked a lot better on him. It was more distinguished. Why don't call yourself big dicular or something? But then you're setting expectations. If you don't have that, then you're kind of running the risk. You're running the risk of that. Like, don't say licky. Anyway, let's get back to Brian Boru. I don't want to talk about clavicular. Of all the accounts of that battle, that in the annals of Inishfallen is the most unadorned, and there seems every likelihood that it was written quite close to the time of the event, and that the facts it presents are accurate, and the opinions, to the extent that it offers any, are reflective of contemporary reaction to what occurred. This is what it reports. A great war between Brian and the foreigners of Dublin. Cócad mór étar Brian agus gulu á Hachlia. And Brian then brought a great muster of the men of Ireland, Morthanol fair errand, to Dublin. It is after that the foreigners of Dublin gave battle to Brian. Dorstat gael á Hachlia cat the Brian. So that Brian MacKennateague was slain, and his son Mircud, heir designate of Ireland, Rig Dom the Herand, and the latter's son, namely Teirdalbach, along with the royalty, the reargrad of Munster, including Conaig Mac Donachon and Donal Mac Diarmata, king of Corcu Basind, and Mac Behan Mac Mirdig, king of Cera Lochra, and Taig Ua Caelig, king of Uamain, and many others. These were also slain in that battle. Mael Morda Mac Murchada, king of Leinster, together with the princes of Leinster round him. And there was a slaughter of the foreigners of the western world in the same battle. Ochus Ergal, Eher Donal Eishi Cath Caitna. This is the extent of the annalist's commentary on one of the most famous battles in Irish history, but the sheer brevity is perhaps the surest sign of its contemporaneity. If this was our only source of information on the battle, What could it tell us? As mentioned above, it is significant that for the events of this and the preceding year, the author introduces into his lexicon the word clócad, war, to capture a sense that this was in no sense a typical campaign. Of course, he will have to have been aware that Brian fought very few full-scale field battles during his long life, and none since his last great confrontation with the Dubliners and Leinstermen at Glen Monma, nearly 15 years earlier. And so perhaps it merited this word clócad, which, as earlier noted, the annals had tended to reserve for conflict with the Vikings. Indeed, this was very much how he perceives it. Whereas some modern historians see the Leinstermen as Brian's primary enemy at Clontarf, the annalist was in no doubt that the enemy was the Norse of Dublin. In fact, he has the same black and white picture of the opposing sides that we tend to think as later legend, indeed, as reflecting a later nationalistic, if not at times a xenophobic outlook. After all, Brian, he would have us believe, commanded a great muster of the men of Ireland, although the only evidence he offers to support that statement is the death of one non-Munster ally of Brian, the southern Connacht king of Uamen, and this Connacht was part of the great war between Brian and the foreigners of Dublin. Cócad mór éithar Brian agus gúil ó Achlia. Brian prosecuted that war by marshalling an army that has only one destination. Brian then brought a great muster of the men of Ireland to Dublin. There was more than one possible outcome of his arrival in the vicinity, but what transpired after that? He challenged their contumacy. The foreigners of Dublin gave battle to Brian. Mustard. Admittedly, the only one of Brian's opponents named as dying in the contest is Mael Morda of Leinster, although with the royalty of Leinster, but evidently the writer felt that they had died serving the interests of Dublin, and one of the most notable outcomes of the day was the slaughter of the foreigners of the Western world. That, by the way, is as close as the author of Inish Fallon's entry on Clontarf comes to describing it as a victory for Brian, and it is by no means certain that he viewed it as such. From his viewpoint, although he says it is rather matter-of-fact, in a rather matter-of-fact way, by far the most considerable outcome of the encounter was the death of Brian. This loss was compounded by the death of Brian's most senior son, Mercad, who, as we know, had been his trusty lieutenant for many years, and as the annalists put it, Rig Dom na Herend, someone he had assumed would seek to succeed his father as King of Ireland. Not only that, but Mercad's own son, Teirdelbach, had died in the bloodbath, as had Conaing, son of Brian's brother Donachon. Big thanks are hot in the head, but what? Big thanks. Anytime a famous actor or person gets a nose job or Botox, I die a little inside. Oh my god, yeah, it does not work well. It's a punishment against hubris for what mortal could ever hope to mimic the majesty of the Bognoff brothers. Hello, Meister. It's nice to see you. How are you? Thank you for joining. I hope you're doing well. It's a cute little emote. He just nomming. He just eating a little. That, by the way, aside from any sorrow the writer may have felt at the demise of the old king, he was surely conscious that the elimination of Brian and his intended heir, and his grandson, who might in turn have been the latter's heir, and bearing in mind that Brian's second most senior son, Donal, had died less than 3 years earlier, cast a pall of confusion over the contemporary political landscape. Not only did it throw open again the struggle for the high kingship, but from the author's Munster viewpoint, it meant nothing short of chaos would reign in the kingdom until there was clarity within the Dal Céis about which of the senior surviving members of Brian's family would gain from these most unlikely vacancies at the top, and until, within Munster more generally, it was thrashed out by word or bloody deed whether Dal Céis would maintain its comparatively recent dominance, or whether the previously ascendant Oanachta might capitalise on this ill wind that had blown Dalcaish's way in so traumatic a fashion. Sorry, I was just grabbing my water bottle. Doing okay, just got up and having food. Ooh, enjoy your food, Meister. Definitely need to keep hydrated when reading a lot. So that was the Battle of Clontarf in the Annals of Inishfallen. Now we're going to look at the Annals of Ulster. If the Inishfallen Annals did not view Clontarf as a victory for Brian, and he could hardly think of it as an unqualified success, as the High King himself lay dead at its conclusion, there is nonetheless a slight suggestion that the loss might almost be worth it, because of the slaughter of the foreigners of the Western world in the same battle. And it is this aspect of the confrontation that other sources tend to emphasize. In other words, there is an undercurrent in all the other accounts of the battle that, great as the loss of their great High King was, the achievement by his army on the day was immense. This is how the Annals of Ulster report it. A hosting by Brian MacKennetig MacLorchán, by the King of Ireland, and by Mael Shocknail MacDonald, the King of Tara, to Dublin. All the Leinstermen were assembled against them, and the foreigners of Dublin, and a like number of the foreigners of Loch Lomond, along with them, i.e. 1,000 breastplates. Lagan ille de leir ethanol, erachin agus gael a hachlia, agus a chumlin the Galib Loch Lomond lo. A valiant battle was fought between them, the like of which was never before encountered. Then the foreigners and the Leinstermen first broke in defeat, so that they were all completely wiped out. In which battle they were killed on the side of the troops of the foreigners, Mael Morda MacMurchada, King of Leinster, and Donal MacFairgall, King of the Forthua of Leinster. And there was in truth killed of the foreigners, Dovgall MacAmlaib, Sucrid MacLother, Jarl of Inishi Orc, and Gilla, Kiran MacGloon Airn, heir designate of the foreigners, or Rig Dona Domna Gall, so kind of king of the foreigners in a way. Well, heir of the foreigners. And Othir Dub, and Sutger, and Dunca Ua Airlub, and Graesna, and Lumna, and Amlaid Maclagmain, I know none of these people, and Brother, who slew Brian, chief of the fleet of Loch Lomond, and 6,000 who were killed or drowned. Of the Irish, moreover, there fell in the counter-shock Brian MacKennetig, High King of the Irish of Ireland, and of the foreigners and of the Britons, the Augustus of the whole of northwestern Europe. Ardri Galiv Erin agus Gaul agus Breton, August Éher Tuirskert Europe Illa, and his son Mircud, and the latter's son Terdelbach MacMorchada, and Conig MacDonachan MacKennetig, potential king of Munster, and Mortla MacDonald MacFailon, king of the Déisi Mon. Brian's 3 attendants, Echu MacDondeg, Niall Uachuan, and Cudulig MacKennetig, 2 kings of Uamain. I've actually lost who's who here. 2 kings of Uamain, Taig Uacalig, and Mael Ruadh Uahaden, king of Edna, and Gabe Knock Uadub Gon, king of Fernmag, and Mac Behig Mac Mirdig Clain, king of Carrig Luchra. I have a little bit more. We're getting there. And Donal MacDiarmaha, king of Corca Basind, and Scunlawn MacCachal, king of the Onocht of Lochlein, and Donal MacEamon MacCainach, a Earl of Mar in Scotland, and many other nobles. Mael Mira MacEachada, successor of Patrick, with his venerable clerics and relics, came moreover to swords, and brought away the body of Brian, king of Ireland, and the body of his son Mircud, and the head of Conig and the head of Mortla, and buried them in Armagh in a new tomb. For 12 nights the community of Patrick waked the bodies in honour of the king. We're done. This is an extraordinary account, nearly twice as long as the next longest entries before that date in the same annals, those recording campaigns by the Nord Nu Nail High Kings Ead Alon and Niall Glundub. Excuse me. This should alert us to the need for vigilance in accepting it at face value. There must be a possibility that parts of it were added to the contemporary record at a later date. I'm surprised you didn't get your tongue tied with the names. I tried my best. It was more, there was so many names, I lost who was meant to be who. I lost who was meant to be, like, king of which area. Two possibilities suggest themselves as explanation for the length of this entry. One arises from the fact that some, at least, of the contemporary content of this section of the Annals of Ulster was undoubtedly written at Armagh. We have seen that this partnership into which Brian entered with the clergyman of Armagh in 1005 transformed the Armagh annalist from being at best neutral regarding his kingship ambitions, to being an ardent advocate. Of course, therefore, Brian's death was considered by this writer a major event, and if it is true, as we have no reason to doubt, that Brian and his son Mircud were brought for burial to Armagh, surely even the commotion surrounding the great occasion would stimulate the resident annalist within their community to a more effusive obit than heretofore. The other possibility arises from the fact, as we shall see, that there is a remarkable overlap between the names given here and in the Coga Gaelic Regalav, to such an extent that it is quite likely that one was copied, directly or indirectly, from the other, and perhaps therefore the entry in the Annals of Ulster is so unusually long, only because its author augmented it with names harvested from the Coga or a related source. What we can say is that there is much in the entry of the Annals of Ulster that is corroborated by the apparently independent account of the Annals of Inishfallen, to the extent that all 8 fatalities in the latter are also in the Annals of Ulster. We may take it as fact, therefore, that in addition to Brian and his son and grandson, the dead on Brian's side at Clontarf included Donal Mac Diarmata and Mac Behed Mac Mirdig of Carrigaluchra, both seafaring communities, facing each other across the lower Shannon estuary, whose vessels would no doubt have helped transport the Munster troops to Dublin. Taig Ua Caelic of Ua Main in South Connaught was one of the few non-Munster powers who was there and also lost his life, which fired the poetic imagination for a later generation. Another certain fatality was Brian's nephew Conaing, son of his brother Donachan. The Annals of Inishfallen do not give Conaing a title, although the Annals of Ulster call him Rig Domna Mumon, which in a case such as this cannot mean, as it sometimes does, heir designate, but rather is an honorific to indicate that Conaing, ancestor of the U Conaing or Gunnings, and a number of other important lines, was a worthy elder statesman who had kingly potential, and in other circumstances may well have made it to the top. His brother Kelachar was the first Dalcaish abbot of Terryglass, who died in 1008, a position he no doubt secured through Brian's influence. It is worth pointing out that while we might imagine that as Brian's nephew, Conaing was a young man in 1014, in fact his father had died as far back as 950, meaning that he would have been at least in his mid-60s at the time of Clontarf. Why is, Brian was meant to be 70 or something in this? Why is there a bunch of old men in this war? Perhaps, therefore, there is something to the claim of the embellished account of the battle in the later annals of Lochhay, that neither Brian nor Conaing fought, but were behind the battalions, chanting their psalms and performing prayers, when an unnamed Dane happened upon them and brutally beheaded both. And sure enough, the Annals of Ulster have it that when Brian was brought for burial to Armagh, only Conaing's head was buried along with him, presumably because the rest of the body was not recovered, which would hardly be so if, as the Coga had it, Conaing had died in hand-to-hand combat with Mael Mord of Leinster. It is also significant that neither the Annals of Inishfallen nor the Annals of Ulster refer to the precise site of the battle or its date. That does not mean that this epic battle, which for centuries has been associated with the low-lying coastal district of Clontarf to the northeast of Dublin, did not take place there. We must believe it did, and it probably occurred on the date assigned to it soon afterwards, Good Friday. But the point is that neither of these annal entries, which are the ones least tainted by later legend, actually say so. We shall discuss the scene of the battle and the date presently, but for now the salient point is that had the account of the battle in the Annals of Ulster been markedly infected by supplementary facts, adding in succeeding generations, we might have expected it to incorporate also the pretty obvious information about the date and the site at Clontarf, by which the battle later came to be known. That it does not do so suggests that the original contemporary report on the battle has remained largely intact in the Annals of Ulster as they have come down to us. The entry of the Annals of Ulster also echoes the Annals of Inishfallen in emphasising the primacy of the Norse as Brian's adversaries. It was a march on Dublin, although the Leinstermen are listed first among those assembled there. It is instead the foreigners and the Leinstermen who first broke. Those Leinstermen who died were killed on the side of the troops of the foreigners, and having listed those of Brian's opponents who were killed, the author begins his inventory with the fatalities on Brian's side with the words, "Of the Irish, moreover, there fell in the counter-shock," as if to suggest it was fundamentally a contest between the Irish and the Norse, although the latter too had Irish allies. Hello, Aidan. Welcome. Diegoit Mucker, how's you? I'm well. We're doing a little bit of reading. And thank you very much, Ian, for the follow. Very appreciated. I hope you guys are having a nice night or day or whatever it is for you. Let me pull in a little and have another sip of water. That's a lot of Ians. I guess it would be. What's that? 3,702,473 Ians. That is indeed a lot of Ians. I heard talking about the 4 provinces of the 4 High Kings. There was, well, back then it would be the 5 provinces, because Meath would have been a province all on its own. You might have heard the 4 Masters, which is one of the annals of Irish history. So the Annals of the 4 Masters, which was made a little bit after, a decent bit after the more contemporary Annals of Inishfallen and Ulster. I'm pretty sure. Where were we? Oh yeah. But whereas the Inishfallen annalist merely mentioned in passing the slaughter of the foreigners of the Western world, the Ulster annalist is much more talkative about the subject. The numbers of the Norse of Dublin who are present at Clontarf are matched by a like number of the foreigners of Loch Lyon, 1,000 breastplates, whereas whatever the origin of this term Loch Lyon, which must have been used, which has been much debated by scholars, the author here clearly intended something in the greater Scandinavian world, as opposed to the Scandinavian enclaves in Ireland. A more 18th century to modern day Irish history? Ah, I see. You might know, we have it wouldn't be 18th century, but it's, there is another book I have that I think would be a really great read, is The 9 Years' War, by, what's his name again? Let me check. Oh, yeah, by James O'Neill, with the great Hugh O'Neill. I would highly recommend that. It's a great book. Isn't Meath usually absorbed by Leinster in most aspects? It does kind of like, once it becomes the four provinces, it basically joins with Leinster, effectively. Where were we? We were here. Incidentally, while the writer's insistence on telling us that Brian's Hiberno-Norse opponents were the foreigners of Dublin might be taken to mean that the other major Norse forces in Ireland from Waterford and Limerick fought on Brian's side, this is not certain. Oh, I just heard people outside. The Limerick men may have done so they seem to have been well and truly under Brian's thumb from his early years. But the Coga claims that the slain among Brian's opponents at Clontarf included Gostilin Gall and Eamon Dubgin, two kings of Waterford, although the former looked suspiciously like the Anglo-Norman name Joclin, and maybe a later invention. And by breastplates, the Ulster analyst obviously intends to convey the sense that there were more heavily armoured or mail-clad than their Irish protagonists. He therefore imagines a force of 1,000 armoured Scandinavians and a similar number of Dubliners. It calculates that of the foreigners who fought at the battle, 6,000 were fought or were killed or drowned. Still needing to read through the mythological cycles of Ireland. I hope you find a good translation. There's I should send you on some of my photos of my Irish books, so you can just be like, I'll read that one, I'll pick that one. Ooh, that was probably a little loud. Although a lot of it will be more kind of medieval. One explanation for what appears like a very poor arithmetic may be that the author sought to imply that while Dublin and its Scandinavian allies each provided 1,000 armoured soldiers, there were in addition vast numbers of other unarmoured participants, and because many of the latter were also killed, this brought the total up to 6,000. Of course, another explanation is that the figure of 6,000 was added for effect by a later writer. The only thing that the Annals of Ulster do regarding the Norse casualties is to provide names. The Annals of Inishfallen do not name a single one. And of the 10 who were listed, most if not all are credible and some even identifiable. The first one on the list, and therefore we must assume the one who was considered the most important, or whose name resonated the most with the writer, is Dubgall mac Amleb, who was probably a brother of the then king of Dublin, known to the Norse as Sigtyrgir Olafsson, or Sigtygir Silkenbeard. Guys, I've been reading Irish names for the last fucking while. Please don't start throwing loads of Norse Scandinavian names at me, please. Rua's making strange sounds again. Is Rua having a stroke on stream? Or is he just trying to pronounce names in his books? Where were we? And to Irish as Siatruk mac Amleb. The second name on the list is Siacrid mac Loder, Jarl of Inishi Orc, who is Sigurd Holverson, or Sigurd Deargi, the Stout, Earl of Orkney, whose mother was apparently Irish and whose death at Clontarf is widely attested. We shall discuss later what Sigurd may have been up to, but for now the important point is that the Annals of Ulster are merely stating fact when they record him among the slain. All I heard was Olaf. Maybe I should just do that. We're all human. Gamballs with their names, thank you. The third name is Gilla Ciaran mac Glún Iarn, heir designated the foreigners, and there is little doubt that he too was a prominent Dublin lord. King Sitric had a brother, Glún Iarn, a Gaelicization of his Norse name, Yarkni, Irony, who preceded Sitric in the kingship until 989. He was murdered while drunk by his own slave. And the Gilla Ciaran killed 20 years later at Clontarf is presumably his son. As a son of the former king of Dublin, no doubt having been too young to prevent his uncle Sitric from obtaining the crown when Glyn Éireann was murdered, he was undoubtedly Riag Domna, one entitled to kingship should political circumstances allow. And incidentally, his name Gilla Ciaran, with its devotion to the founder of Clonmacnoise, is a reminder of how thoroughly Christianized and Gaelicized this family now were. From this point on, the names are less readily identifiable. Óthair Dubh has the Norse name Óthair and the Irish nickname meaning the Black. Assuming he was actually known as this, rather than having had his Norse nickname rendered thus by the Irish annalist, he came from somewhere in the Gaelic-speaking world. As to his identity, there's an outside chance, although there is a big gap between them, that his grandson is the Othir, son of Othir, of the people of the Western Isles, who seized the kingship of Dublin in 1142. A cynic might suggest that a memory of this later Othir prompted the insertion of the name in Irish accounts of Clontarf, but there were other otters, and therefore it was a common name among the Hiberno Norse. An Othir, son of Jarnkne, the Iron Knee guy, was active in the Dublin area in 880, and there was a Jarl Othir operating from Waterford, who was killed in England in 918. Interestingly, the Othir who died in 918 became one of the villains of the Coga's account of Viking oppression, and it calls him Othir Dub, the same as the man allegedly killed at Clontarf. Assuming there were not two Othir Dub, we must reject one of them, perhaps giving the benefit of the doubt to the 1014 Othir Dub rather than the Coga's 918 one, who is just plain Othir in the annals. In other words, it seems more likely that the author of the Coga added the nickname Dub to the 918 Othir, having come across it in the annal type record of Clontarf, than that the compilers of the Annals of Ulster liked the look of the early 10th century Othir Dub in the Coga and randomly added him to the account of Clontarf. I'm doing my best with these names. Hello, Mirel. It's nice to see you. How are you? The third name is Gilla Ciaran MacGlún Airn. Oh wait, no, I read that. The Annals of Ulster then have among the Norse slain at Clontarf a certain Suotger, or Suortger, which may be the Norse name Suotgar or Sufgir, but if so, it is very rare, which may add a hint of authenticity to it. Nothing is known of the man in question, whereas the next individual named, Danka Ua Erub, or Erub, is a little more familiar. He is an unlikely looking name for a Norseman, and there is still uncertainty about whether his family was Norse or Irish, but the Clon Erub do at least occur in contemporary Irish sources, and this therefore is not a casual concoction by the author. There then comes Grisini, whose name seems to be the Old Norse personal name Gris, but ending, it appears, with the Gaelic diminutive in, suggesting that he too is from a Gaelic-speaking milieu. Next, Lumna might be Lambi, a relatively rare name that occurs only a few times in Landnámabók, the Icelandic Book of Settlements, put together in the present form in the 13th century, which lists Viking colonists in Iceland from the late 9th century onwards. As for Amlaeb Lagmain, his name is the very familiar Ulfr, and we may suggest that his patronymic derives from the Old Norse Logmaður, meaning lawman, and he may have been connected to the Logmain na Nesna, lawmen of the Isles, who turned up in Ireland in the 960s or 70s. As far as the author of the Coga was concerned, however, he was one of the 5 chiefs of Dublin killed at Clontarf. Finally, Broder, the commander of the Scandinavian fleet, supposedly has the Norse name Brodir, rather than the Irish name Bruadar, and the Norse sources imply a background in the Isle of Man, although the Coga implausibly considered him a Jarl of York and the north of England. In the Coga, though, he occurs alongside his uterine brother, Conmail, and a person of the name was one of the Islesmen killed at the Battle of Tara in 980, suggesting, if the name runs in the family, an insular background. He is certainly a historical figure whose leading role at Clontarf is chronicled in other accounts. The author's insistence on recalling the names of these non-Irish high-status fatalities is important. They may be obscure to us now, but they were obviously well-known figures in the Irish Sea region, whose participation in this anti-Brian coalition at Clontarf, and their deaths there, was big news. He is keen to emphasise that this was not just a Dublin army, but was matched by a like number of the foreigners of Loch Lomond. Hence, therefore, just as his list of the Irish who fell at Clontarf is given an order of seniority, beginning with Brian, his list of the deceased Norse commanders is headed by the King of Dublin's brother, Dubgal mac Amlaeb, followed by Sigurd Deirdre of Orkney. Because of him, this was a joint command, and if therefore we are to give credence to his account, we must think in similar terms. It was after all a view shared by the Inishfallen analyst, who thought of Clontarf as a slaughter of the foreigners of the Western world. No, Diaz, you can't just put me in a sandwich. I'm trying to read. I'm glad all is well, Mirel. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm not doing well. I'm being sandwiched. They're getting butter on my hair. They're getting butter on my chin. They're going to get butter on my book if they're not careful. Do you know what happens to paper if fat gets onto it? It's not good. Butter on the dog. No, not butter on the dog. Sandwich. Ooh. Such a shame. So sad. No. Bad Haru. Bad Haru. Bad. Yes, Haru. Don't yas her. I don't care if it's gay month. You can't yas Haru about that. Don't you dare yas Haru. Fox. Licka. A very delicious looking... Oh, thank you, Meister. Don't eat me, though. No, don't you yas her too, Mike. I won't put up with it. Okay, I'm gonna finish off the... No, Mira. Mira, why? Why? I was just out of the sandwich. Ginger sandwich, ugh, my taste buds. Ruadh in the middle would be perfect. What, me in the middle of the sandwich? I guess so. I guess I'd make a good sandwich. Nom nom. But I eat the sandwich first, though. That's the only issue. I start eating the sandwich before you, so you have to be quick about eating the Ruadh sandwich in the middle of two. Why can't you guys just drop this? Why can't I? Why are you guys of the same brain cell? Mirel, those eyes, oh my god. Haru, Ruadh is telling you how he wants it. We need Yowie Skeb. I gave you a Yowie Skeb. Wait, Fox, I don't know if you saw the art in the Discord. Feel free to look in the Discord. I gave you a Yowie Skeb. A very Yowie Skeb. More. More. I hate you guys so much. I hate you guys. You're never satisfied. You in the... No. You got some already. Fox drew some of basically that. Why we always hungry? Now I have 3 of you shouting at me for more Skeb. I'm not made of money. Okay, let me finish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my god, 7 more pages. This is a lot of pages. I might be able to fit. Your model kinda is. No, I'm not the Monopoly man. I'm not the Monopoly man at all. I'm not made of money. Where were we? We were... No, legend, no. No, get off my hand. How long have I been reading, actually? How many pages have I done? I'm getting a little tired. It's okay. If I do like a few more, we'll get to 20. Get that job and be made of money. You read at least 2 pages, I'm sure. Yeah, it's a really, really big book. It's a really big book. Time to put Haru on a steak. Deserves it. Where were we? We were... Oh, yeah. We were... here. Hello, Solitude. Welcome in, welcome in. Well, Sol One-tude. Oh my days. Welcome in, welcome in. He wants to go look at his spicy skeb again. Don't let him lie. Well, I skebbed it for you guys, and I did both sides. Solitude was taken. I see, I see. Well, you know what? Sol One-tude is not a bad alternative. It's kind of neat. I like it. But yeah, Haru, you're so right, Meister. Do feel better soon, Haru. But yeah, Will is supposed to be an I. I know. I'm just messing with you, calling you Sol One-tude. But I'll call you Solitude. How are you? I'm quite well. I'm getting a little tired, though. My voice is starting to get tired. Solitude is 5 minutes away. People in Moorhall will be like, what's the move? My brother, there is no move. There is no move. We're in Morthal. Me, well, so we can burn you again. Oh no. Solitude is 5 minutes away and rapidly approaching your location. Anyway. The authors... No, I read this. To complement his notion of a broad axis of Norse opposition, the Ulster analyst must view Brian's army in national terms. Thus, he captures the essence of the Annals of Inishfellin's great muster of the men of Ireland by telling us that the hosting to Dublin was led by both Brian as King of Ireland and Mael Shocknail as King of Tara. This is the first time that these two titles were applied to different individuals in the same sentence, showing how the writer had reconciled himself to the fact that they were no longer synonymous. One could be the King of Ireland without being the King of Tara, and vice versa. Mael Shocknail's continued commitment to Brian's cause has been widely doubted, and he may have been given a very bad press in later literary accounts of Clontarf, but the contemporary Ulster analyst thought he was one of the leaders of Brian's army for a reason, and that reason has to do with the Armagh author's knowledge of Mael Shocknail's relationship with Brian. After he had entered into Brian's allegiance in 1002, there is no evidence that he ever wavered in his duty. People from Falkreath laughing at Morthal. Wait, we're reading? We are reading. I'm getting distracted a lot, though, but I want to read a little bit more. I'm going to use this to sleep. Good night. Good night, Solitude. Have a good sleep. I will do my best to try. I'm going to go play ESO now. Enjoy ESO. Enjoy the destruction of the lore. I'm sure there's good parts to ESO. There's probably a lot more bad parts where the lore is just kind of like whatever the fuck. But I have heard that there is some like really good stuff here and there, particularly around like some of the Morrowind gods. Where were we? We were... It's hard to keep track of things. Oh yeah. Besides, Brian's enemies at Clontarf were Mael Shocknail's enemies at the beginning of that fateful year, while they waited for Brian and his allies to return, and no doubt to replenish their provisions before the impending assault. Sitric and Mael Morda made a foray out of Dublin into Mael Shocknail's kingdom of Meath, along with Breaga, as far as Termonfeckin in County Louth, from which they carried off innumerable cows and a great number of captives. Evidently, they considered Mael Shocknail as much an enemy as they did Brian. Furthermore, a text listing the kings of Ireland tells us that Mael Shocknail fought in 25 battles, including the Battle of Tara and 2 battles at Dublin, which we must assume are Glen Mama in 999 and Clontarf in 1014. He successfully laid siege to Dublin on 2 occasions earlier on in his career, but neither are counted as battles. And not only had Brian the forces of Meath with him, but the casualty list shows that he had a fairly wide-ranging backing. The Munster contingent of his army included such erstwhile Onocht enemies as Scanlon mac Cathal, king of the Onocht of Loch Lane, and the Gaebanoch Ua Dubgon, the Onocht Glendalmach king of Fairmaig, both of whom lost their lives alongside Brian, as did Motla mac Domnall mac Mick Fellon, king of the Déisi Mumon, a people who in Brian's early years had been slow to rally to his cause. Indeed, Motla was considered such a part of Brian's inner circle that when his head was retrieved from the battlefield, presumably his decapitated trunk could not be identified, which says something for the mayhem that ensued, it was brought to Armagh for burial in the same tomb as the High King and his slain family members. Other Munster peoples were there too, in force, if we are to judge from the fact that at least 2 more of their kings, the West Munster king of Cairgluachra and the king of the County Clare people called Corcu Basind, also fell with Brian. His support extended beyond Leath Moga into Leath Cuan. Not only had he supported the most senior royal, the king of Tara himself, but a number of Connacht royals died fighting for the cause, including apparently 2 kings of Uamain, at least one of whom, as we have seen, was an Ua Caelig, and the king of Ua Feachra Edna, Mael Ruadh Ua Hayden, nephew of Brian's first wife. If these Connacht kings died, we must assume that there were others present who survived, and that means that the geographical spread was not inconsiderable. So significant was the compass of support, in fact, that a certain Donal mac Éamon MacCainach, Earl of Mar in Scotland, also perished alongside Brian. We shall look again below at the involvement of this lord from northeastern Scotland in this ostensibly Irish war. For present purposes, however, his death merely serves to emphasize that while the rebellion against Brian had been substantial, and others no doubt who did not rebel held aloof, still a wide spectrum of lordly power throughout the Gaelic world was willing to countenance death in support of Brian's objectives on that calamitous day. Presumably it was the sheer unprecedented extent of the slaughter that motivated the formal removal of Brian's body for burial in Armagh. Of course he had become its patron, and one can well imagine the churchmen of Armagh being keen to pay their respects in this way, although equally there must have been 1 or 2 noses out of joint in Munster at losing him, which may account for the strange silence on the subject of the annals of Inishfallen, material for which in this period was coming from the Dalcaish churches of Turgany and Killaloe. It would not have been an insurmountable operation to return his body home. The Coga claims that, after the battle, bodies that were recognisable as being followers of Brian among the 1,600 slain on his side were buried, presumably in a mass grave on or near the site of the battle, but that 30 other nobles who were killed were taken for burial to their own ancestral churches in various places around the country. In any event, the trek home to Killaloe was hardly more arduous or hazardous than that to Armagh. Armagh, of course, long associated in particular with the Keneal Noan of Northern Unail, had a tradition of burying royalty, so that, for instance, in 980, Brian's predecessor but one as High King, the great Donal Uanail, died in Armagh after penance, and there are specific mentions in 935 and 1064 of other Keneal Noan princes being buried in the cemetery of the Kings of Armagh, and in the mausoleum of the Kings of Armagh. But ultimately the decision to inter Brian at Armagh must have been his own. Even when he first visited Armagh as High King nearly a decade earlier, he was in his mid-60s, and surely conscious of his own mortality, and as the scene of his adoption of the title Imperator Scotorum, it was intimately bound up with his own view of his national preeminence. He had embraced Armagh as the ecclesiastical capital of his kingdom, and therefore it was surely he who considered it an appropriate home for his mortal remains. The Coga has him saying to his attendant when, before the battle, he has a premonition of his death, "Carry out my will, after me. My body and soul to God and to St. Patrick. I am to be carried to Armagh, and my blessing to my son Donca for discharging my last bequests after me. 12 score cows to be given to the Combara of Patrick, the abbot of Armagh, and the community of Armagh, its own proper Jews, to Killaloe in the churches of Munster. Go tonight to Fours, Swords, and tell them to come early tomorrow for my body, and convey it there to Duleek, and then let them carry it to Louth, and let Mail Murtha Mac Eachada, the Combara of Patrick, and the community of Armagh, come to meet my body at Louth." Okay, I have 2 more pages, and then I'm done. I'm done this chapter. Well, I'm done this part of the chapter. Still a lot more to go. Still a lot of pages. And when his portent came through, and he indeed lost his life, we are told that Brian was met as directed, and he was taken to Armagh and Murcott along with him, and Donca paid in full their bequests, and fulfilled Brian's will after him as he had directed. If we compare that with the following statement in the Annals of Ulster, repeated in generally similar terms in the later Annals of Loch Kay and the Contian Annals of Boyle and by the Four Masters, all drawing on the same source used by the compiler of the Annals of Ulster, it is clear the annalistic record and the Coga are reasonably consistent. So it's pretty much just the same thing, really. One may be borrowing from the other, or both may be borrowing from a now lost common source, but there is no very persuasive reason for thinking that either is making it up. In 1832, George Petrie called attention to a monumental stone in Bully's Acre at Kilmainham, which still survives. That is still popularly supposed to be the tomb of the great and favourite hero of our early history, that warrior prince who died for his country in the arms of victory at the great battle of Clontarf. He dismissed the tradition on the grounds of the favour of evidence in favour of Armagh in all our ancient historic authorities. Ooh. Excuse me a moment, I'll have to step away. See you in a sec. I'm sorry, that took a little bit while back. Thank you, Meister. Thank you. He face poke, chest grab. I see. He left us forever. Ooh, I miss him. Lurk highway. He got the milk. A very handsome idle stare. It did look. I caught like a little bit of the look when I was going to sit down. It did look quite handsome. I thought bro died. He did you? I'm sorry, but a princess never tells. A princess does not poop. My immersion. No, I looked in the mirror. Princess. Well, yeah, we did a princess stream earlier. We found out I was Sleeping Beauty, Aurora. Anyway, I do want to quickly. A princess doesn't poop and tell. Bonita princess. But yeah, I think I only have like a page left here. So yeah, to finish off this little bit. So we may as well do it. Where were we? I'm just going to quickly do this and then we can chat for like 5 minutes and then I raid off. It appears, it appears from the same sources that others of the Irish princes slain in the Great Battle were really buried at Kilmainham, and that this monument was erected to mark the place of their interment. The chief of these was Prince Murrough, the son of Brian, who, according to the Munster Books of Battle by Mac Legg, was buried by the west end of the chapel, with a long stone standing on one end of his tomb, on which his name was written. Of this inscription there are now no legible traces, the stone being a coarse-grained granite and unfavourable to preservation. There can be little doubt, therefore, that this cross, for such it was in its perfect state, was either the monument of Murrough or of his son Turlough, who was slain in the same battle, and other circumstances corroborate this conclusion. About 40 years ago, having fallen from its pedestal, it was set up again, on which occasion a number of coins of the Danish kings, the only minted money then generally in use, were found at its base, and with them a fine sword of the same period, which perhaps we are justified as calling the sword of Murrough O'Brien. It belongs at all events to one of the compatriots. This sword was deposited with the then commander of the forces, who had it placed in the hall belonging to his apartments, where it still remains, a highly interesting though hitherto unnoticed memorial. Despite what Petrie says, there is no genuinely medieval source that states that Merced was buried at Kilmainham. A slightly later tradition is preserved by the Dubliner Richard Stainhurst in his Description of Ireland, published in 1577, who says that Brian, Merced, Taig Uachalig, and the other fallen Irish heroes were interred at Kilmainham against the Great Cross. But this same account has it that the Dubliners won, and includes among the dead one Dunlain Uaartigain, who appears in the Coga as a supernatural being who would hardly require burial. It may be doubted, therefore, whether there is any substance to Stainhurst's assertion regarding the burials at Kilmainham, but this does not rule out the possibility that some of the fallen from Clontarf were buried at the site of the monastery there, near which Brian had set up camp for at least part of the proceedings. For instance, one might wonder why, if Brian and his son Merced and nephew Conaing were brought to Armagh for burial, there is no mention of what became of Merced's son, Terdelbach, Brian's grandson, but the fact is that there is no authentic document record of any casualties of Clontarf being buried at Kilmainham, and such a tradition must be regarded with scepticism. And that would bring us to Clontarf in the later annal collections. So we're moving away from the contemporaneous sources and more into things that may be a little bit more influenced by the politics at the time, but we will have to get to that in another stream. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. I am quite tired. It is 12:20 and I need to be up in 6 hours and 40 minutes. So that's gonna be fun. We'll be okay. Don't worry. Thank you for stream, Ua. You were really booking it. I know. I was trying my best because I wanted to get that part done because I knew I was really close to it. Also, yeah, booking it. I like it, legend. Thank you for stream. Thank you guys for sticking by. It was very kind of you. I hope you guys enjoyed me waffling and being silly. Rest well, Rule. I will, Meister. You guys rest well too. You guys get a good night's sleep or a good rest or have some nice food, whatever you're doing, whatever you're up to. I think I'll briefly look for someone to raid into. Is anyone that I know doing ASMR that is a constantly running account? That is... No, not that one. How about this guy? Sin? Let me take a look at him. He's doing regular ASMR, like normal trigger ASMR. Oh, you guys might like him. He has like kind of a little bit of a toxic look. He has like lip piercings and a big owl tattoo. He has an owl tattoo based like all across his chest. I don't think he has a t-shirt. I think you guys might like him. And he has like a deep voice too, so you guys might like that. But yeah, we'll send you guys over there. Hope you guys enjoy. Interesting. Raid, sub-raid. There we go. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on the whole potential work thing. We'll see how that goes. And I'll figure out a way to keep streaming if it does happen. Don't worry, I promise. And it might even be fine. It might even like be fine. Like I'm only over there a few days a week, and then every other day I can try and stream. But yeah. Thank you guys for joining. Garev Milam Hagat and Slán Gafol, and I will see you guys next stream. Bye bye.